On finance, we're joined in Sydney by James Gerard from Financial Advisor website. James, good morning to you.
Good morning, Michael.
In a sign the economy is slowing, new car sales are down quite heftily in September. What do you read from that?
Yeah, new car sales are down 10% year on year, and there's a couple of reasons for that. The first is that things are just going back to normal. If we think back a couple of years ago during COVID, there was a shortage of cars coming into the country. There was a logistics bottleneck. We had a shortage of semiconductors, and so that led to this pent-up demand, which has taken a couple of years to flow through the system. But we're also experiencing a slowdown in economic conditions. So for most people, cars are an essential item, but not necessarily a brand new car. And what we're seeing is more people spending $1,000 to fix a leaking engine than to spend $30,000 on a new car. But that said, there's still 100,000 new cars that are being sold in Australia every single month. And if people are in the market for a new car, I've got a tip for them. Now, the thing is that 12 months ago, car dealers weren't really interested in discounting the price of cars because there was more demand than there was for supply. But today, things have flipped on their head. So if you're in the market for a new car buyers are in the driver's seat, so to speak. So if you're planning to go to the car dealership this weekend, you should be aiming to get between an 8 to 10% discount on the retail price of the car. That's what's achievable in the current market.
Okay, very interesting. And looking at electric vehicles, James, their sales have fallen more broadly than the bigger, more general car market. Are there any signs from those figures as to where the EV market is heading?
Yeah, it's really interesting, Michael, in that although new car sales overall have dropped by 10% year on year, electric vehicle sales have dropped even more than that. So electric vehicles have dropped by 30% in sales volume year on year. And in fact, Teslas have dropped by 50% year on year. And what we're seeing is that people are reconsidering what their views are around electric vehicles. And we have to remember that electric vehicles make up about 8.5% of all new car sales in Australia. But we lag the rest of the world. Globally, electric vehicles make up about 20% of new car sales, and in some countries such as Norway, electric vehicles make up 95% of new car sales. And so what we're seeing here in Australia is that we're lagging the rest of the world, and that's partly due to Australia being a really big country, and that means that electric vehicles don't necessarily suit everybody, particularly people that don't live outside of or don't live in the metropolitan areas. And also we're seeing state-based incentives to buy EVs wound back. So we saw New South Wales and Victoria, they both offered $3,000 incentives for EVs, but those programs are now finished. That said, if you are looking to buy an EV, there is a really tax-effective way to do so, and that's through the Electric Car Discount Bill, where if you buy an electric vehicle for less than $91,000 and you do it through a novated lease with your employer, all of the financing and operating costs of the electric vehicle are fully tax-deductible, and the best thing is that no logbook is required.
Okay, now lastly, it's that time of the year again when we all need to lodge our tax returns, James. People do forget for whatever reasons. What should they do in that circumstance?
Yeah, it's that time of year again, and the biggest tip is just stop procrastinating. Do your tax return. It's never been simpler to do it. The Australian Tax Office say that it takes most people less than 1 hour to do their tax returns. And these days, most of the information that you need will be already pre-filled into the MyTax portal. So your wages, your interest on bank accounts, shared dividends, private health insurance information, it's all there. All you need to do is just jump in, add any additional income, add your deductions, and away you go. And the Tax Office have tried to make it even easier. They have over 40 different occupation guides for various professionals. So whether you're a doctor versus a nurse or a flight attendant, there's a specific guide for you on the Australian Tax Office website so that you can see what type of deductions that you should be claiming. And last of all, if it's all too hard for you, just use a tax agent. You've got until 31 October to register with a tax agent. And if you do, you get later lodgement deadlines sometime between March to May next year. And also the tax agent's fees are tax deductible as well.
Yes, time fast running out. Good advice. James, thank you so much for that.
My pleasure. Thanks, Michael.
Well, we're trying to get you some news from Broken Hill, where people are just struggling right now. There's no power. They're struggling to get phone reception. There are